guilt will stop you in your tracks from doing stuff. And that comes as a massive hook or a blocker or a dark hole that can stop you from loving and accepting yourself who you are.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Greetings, dear Deb.
Greetings.
Greetings. Hello, dear listeners. I say
think
greetings.
We're like an alien. Greetings. Elf.
Well,
We've talked about this before, haven't we? Greetings. That's Elf, isn't it? Remember Elf?
Probably. Greetings.
Oh.
Take me to your leader.
Yeah. Here we are. Oh my God. People are probably going, what the heck have we
What on earth are we on today?
Well, this is a perfect one. How we
It
start
is.
that.
It is. Just you wait. Just you wait till we tell you what we're going to talk about today. Oh, mind you, like you just pointed out in one of our previous ones, they already know.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Righto. Greetings.
Greetings, dear listeners. Here we are with another deliciously motivating conversation. We love having these conversations. I hope our listeners enjoy and love listening to them as much as we have, as much as we do putting them together.
Yeah, you better be enjoying these things, because if you don't, you need to be telling us. You need to tell us why. Okay, admittedly, I did snort in the first minute. That's okay. And I did take the mickey out of greetings. Okay.
You did.
But
you did.
But we do get along. So you better be telling us, listeners. Are you listening?
But no, seriously, listeners, we would love to hear your comments, your questions, your feedback. We've got that Facebook group that we would love to have a wee visit and hear your insights, your input from. And even, and I think Deb said this before, if you want for us to discuss a specific topic, let us know too, because we would be open to that also.
Because if you've been following us for a while or listened to all our podcasts, you'll know that we can talk about anything.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, can't stop us.
Yeah. We can.
So before we get into our topic for today's conversation, we like to do rating ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. And so how this works is 10 is that you're feeling so stuck, so needing so much help, can't see your way through the forest kind of thing. And 0 is completely zen, connected, all is well, neutral. Deb said neutral about 0. I like saying neutral. You're completely at 1.
Well, I prefer neutral. I actually prefer neutral over balanced, because balanced feels like you're
could
balanced.
potentially wobbly. Yeah, that's a good point.
So when you're neutral, you just are.
You just are. Yeah, no, that's great. I like that. We will use that moving forward.
I hope we remember. Yeah,
we'll try to. Yeah. And so all that being said, where would you put yourself, Deb, on a scale of 0 to 10?
On the topic, I would say I'm a 1.
Okay.
But I would probably say, but on the topic, definitely a 1. I'm going to say a 2.5, actually, where I am as a person right now.
Okay. So I'm with you, actually. I would say that I'm at 1 for the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I put myself at a 2. just general life speaking at the moment.
What did I say I was?
I think you said 2.5 and 1.
Like a what? Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, like I said, that's what we would encourage our listeners to do as well when we go into our conversation. So what we're going to talk about today is loving and accepting who you are. This is such an important part. Yes, very good. I was missing that part.
And I'm actually just going to say, apart from the music, loving and accepting who you are is being okay with the number you've just chosen.
Absolutely.
My fingers up. My fingers pointing.
Yeah, she's telling you.
Whether it's a 0 or a 1 or a 2 or a 7 or an 8 or a 10, or you're way beyond the 10.
Yeah.
That's perfectly loving and accepting who you are. It doesn't matter. Right now you're at that number. At the end of the podcast today, you will potentially be another number, which I would love to know that it's actually moving towards the 0. Yep. If it's not, then it's wise for you to connect with both of us, not just one, both of us. Yeah. So we can
do a wee bit of an intervention for you.
Do a little bit of a glitter magic behind the scenes and sprinkle lots.
Absolutely.
But the number's really important to know, loving, accepting who you are right here, right now.
No, and well said. That is such an important part. Do you know, most of my clients, I was going to say all of them, but I don't think I've done it to all of them. But most of my coaching clients, I will have them at one point or another do an exercise of having a mirror at their bedside table. And that first thing in the morning when they wake up, when that alarm goes off, they have to pick up that mirror and look at themselves in the eye and say, I love you completely.
Because that's when you're most attractive.
That's right.
That's when you're most attractive, when you wake up and you've got sleep in your eye and you've got one eye open and you've got to look at that mirror and your hair's going, yeah, I had a real great sleep last night. Yes,
but
Moira.
You see, you can still love yourself. Yes, you can. And so here's why I said on this topic, I'm at a 1, because I'm sharing with you something that I do every single day and have done probably for the last 9 years. Just because I like to make that announcement. I love and accept who I am right here, right now. And then so often, and people go into that, like you just said, oh yeah, look at my hair sticking up. Oh, look at these wrinkles. That's just somebody said, I've got all these wrinkles. My hair's gray. Got all this flab under my chin.
Yeah. That thing, I didn't have that last night when I went to bed. Yeah.
But it's like, who are you to deny the fact that you are a divine, amazing being at this point in time, that you then just judged yourself because your physical body looks like this, or because you got sleep in your eyes, or because your hair's sticking out funny? Mm-hmm. It's like, where did that come into love?
Where did that come from? Yeah, where did that come from, and why is that so important that it has to be that all the way through? Exactly.
Yeah. So so one thing that I see people doing about that judgy part is they judge themselves based upon what they think other people think about them, which is very convoluted. But really, in your bedroom when you first wake up, nobody's going to be seeing you. This is just between you and you, looking at the mirror and saying, I love you. And so the key piece here that's super, super important is that inner core of you deserves and demands your unconditional love. That's what this is all about, right?
And if you can't say it then, over when you're all glammed up and ready to go and feeling $1 million, and when I talk about glam, I don't necessarily mean your hair and makeup and everything done, but when you feel like you've had an amazing sleep and you've eaten something and you feel alive and you've just solved the biggest problem in the world, or you've just cleaned your house, or you've done something and you're alive, when you're feeling amazing, if you can't say it when you're in that wake up mode, there's an issue.
That's right.
there's an issue, because if you can say it to yourself when you're ready to go out and you are glammed, when I say glammed up, like I just said, doesn't necessarily mean makeup and all the rest of it. For your men wearing the makeup, I'm clearly talking about.
Of course.
That's a different area in your mind than when you first wake up in the morning.
Right.
I remember the first time you told me that, I was like, why the heck would you want to do that? What are you thinking? My God, you know. But my daughter, I know my daughter, when I'm traveling, used to send me a first picture in the morning on Snapchat, and she'd send me a first picture. I'd say, give me a picture of when you wake up in the morning. She's like, I'm going to send on Snapchat because you'll screenshot it, because you'll keep it forever. You know. And I used to love getting those one eye open, you know, and she'd be blowing me a kiss with one eye open, and she would look like a wreck in her mind, but all I would see is that she gave me this photo of her first, if I was traveling, this photo of her waking up in the morning. I'd know what time she woke up, what type of sleep she's had, because I could see all that, and she would look gorgeous.
That's beautiful.
But if I showed other people, she would, okay, Sophie, I did show a few people. Let's get that one out there now. Let the guilt go. Just as well she's not going to listen to this podcast. But to me, she was beautiful, because I saw the type of sleep she's had, everything that's been going on around her. I could tell by looking at her how beautiful she was.
But you see, what you're describing, which is really beautiful, is you're seeing the being.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the body or the physical vessel that being is inhabiting. But that's why this is such an important conversation, is such an important concept, is that, sure. So to your example there, that if you can do that, I love and accept myself when I'm all got my hair done and I'm glammed up, got my makeup on. And if you can do it then, but you can't do it when you first wake up in the morning, you only love yourself conditionally.
Yeah. You
just put conditions on it. Well, I love myself when I'm this. Or weight is another huge one, right?
Oh.
Where people is, I can't because I'm 20 pounds overweight. Well,
I can't change my Facebook profile picture because I haven't got any decent photos of me, you know, and social media is actually a massive one where people do only post. We talked about that this morning, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We literally talked about that. You put your best Facebook profile picture up.
Right.
Well, some people do, some people don't. Some people just put any old photo, which is fine. But that's exactly it. And it is what we portray to others is really, really, really incredibly important for some people, is that I need to make sure that I'm putting the best foot forward so other people can go, wow, look at her lifestyle, or look at this, or look at that, which is a crock of shite.
Of BS. But do you know what? Because I've worked with a lot of people who have that kind of attitude of I can't let anybody see it until I've got all my face put together and the right clothes. And so my question to people that are doing that is, I say, your arms must get so heavy. They must get so sore. And they go, what? It's like, well, but you're leading with holding this mask out in front of you all the time. Isn't it easier just put your mask down, be you? Let the world see who you are.
Well, do you have Big Brother over in...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So imagine if Big Brother was in your house. Would you be happy with what you as a person portray to the world as Big Brother? Because if you are not happy with if Big Brother was moved in and showing stuff, then this is a great acknowledgement to go, okay, well, I'm not living who I really would love to be. Mm-hmm. I would love to be healthier, or I'd love to speak to myself gently, or I'd love to take ownership of that, or I'd love to not lie, or any of those things. Then this is part of it. You know, if Big Brother was watching you, would you do that? Would you say that to yourself? Like if Big Brother, so you can put the persona on verbally, but imagine if Big Brother was in your head and could replay all your thoughts that you think of every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's Scary
Yes,
thought.
very scary.
Big brother in your head where you go, oh, I'm not judgmental. Okay, so let's just tap into your mind for the last 24 hours and how many times did you judge others or yourself or even start to or go to the extreme?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, big brother, you can go now. But that's the stuff, you know. So it's actually loving and accepting yourself for who you are, for the positives about yourself, for the negatives that you can easily turn into positives when you acknowledge, but also for making the choices that you make each step of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that would come down to gratitude, I'm just going to say.
Yeah, that's another really big thread through our conversations, isn't it?
Being
Appreciation
grateful,
and gratitude.
Yeah, for actually going, okay, right now I have woken up with sleep in my eye and I can look at myself and I'm grateful for that sleep, because the sleep in your eye actually indicates I had sleep last night.
That's right. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
And instead of just going, oh my God, look at me, I've got sleep in my eye, actually just, you know, what are you grateful for that stuff? You wake up, you know, people with short hair wake up with one hell of a hairdo, you know, if they've had a rough night's sleep or whatever, or they've tossed and turned, but, you know, wow, my hair's sticking up. So it shows that I've actually had a rough night's sleep. So tomorrow night, you know, tonight I'm going to actually, you know, go to bed a little bit earlier. I'm going to have a warm milk or whatever, I don't know, before bed instead of having a beer or wine or whatever. You know, I'm going to do these things differently. This is about acknowledging and being aware, but also being grateful for who you are right here, right now.
But you just brought up an interesting point that I was just feeling into about that looking at my hair. If I start labeling it, we all have this judgy propensity to label and judge.
Mm-hmm.
Why? If we could be at the neutral point,
Mm-hmm.
how could we turn ourselves to be more of a neutral, interested observer? And if we could take that point of view, because to me that would be very much supportive of loving and accepting. So you wake up and your hair's a mess and maybe you got saliva down your face.
It's got a nice little pattern onto your clean pillow slip. Yep.
Yeah.
Never.
No, that's never happened to me either.
Mm-hmm.
But these are just things. They're just things that you could kind of go, oh, isn't that interesting? What's next?
It is. And I think the first, and I hear what you're saying, the first thing is like, and I'm just going to do the sleep in your eye thing. You wake up and we do judge.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a training of your brain to not judge.
Right.
But you can't actually get rid of judgment. I believe you can't get rid of judgment ever, but you can train your brain when it comes and acknowledges. So changing that to, instead of waking up and going, oh, I've got sleep in my eye, you know, what's the benefits to me? How's that serving? What am I grateful for that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, shift your mindset and align differently to not having that judgment of that. So that judgment that you first said, oh, I've got sleep in my eye, I can't look at myself and say, you're beautiful. Nice accent, Deborah. But you're actually looking at it and you acknowledge it, and then you go, oh wow, man, I must have slept so well last night to have that sleep. Gosh, it's interesting, I've only got it in one eye, not the other eye. You know, so this is all part of allowing that judgment to not be judgment, to just be neutral on it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that you just did that, because really what you're doing is you're allowing the judgment to morph into discernment, which is really super healthy. Right? Because then you're using something that you notice to gauge, right?
To your best advantage.
Yeah, yes, exactly, to your best advantage. Like you say, oh, it must mean I've had a great sleep. Oh, I do actually feel rested and optimistic and filled with appreciation for this comfy bed I just slept in and this beautiful day I'm about to step into, right? So it's that shift. It's subtle, but it's a game changer for so many people to actually just start coming into it. And it doesn't mean you have to do it every single day, because some days you might wake up and
jump out of bed to go to the toilet and forget the mirror.
Well, there's that. Yep.
I'll just be honest, having me this morning.
There's that. But it's by coming down into breathing deeply and recognizing that the reason that I do this is that they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. And that's why I'm really encouraging people to not get into, yeah, but I've got lines on my face, or I've got gray hair, or I got wrinkles. And
Now, do you do it with glasses on first thing, or do you do it with no glasses on? Because if my dad has to put his glasses on to see. So if he can look at himself with no glasses on and go, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're good looking, you're a hunk, 70-year-old man, and then puts his glasses on, and he's going to have a different conversation.
So that's a good question. Sometimes
you're wearing glasses?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But my eyesight is pretty bad without my glasses, but I can still see myself.
Yeah. That was a little sidewind joke there, just realizing, hey, hang on. If I asked my dad, he would say, yep, because he can just see a bubble. He can just see a blur. When he gets his glasses on, then he'll go, oh, whoa. He's a bloody good-looking bloke for 70 plus. Yeah.
But that's the thing is to. So in that example, I would encourage him to do it without his glasses, and then use discernment if he's putting his glasses on. So.
Just put on one eye, Dad. Just put on one eye. Just do one and see what you look like.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
This is the key pieces that I just really encourage people to get away from that judgy voice, and I like how you described it, Deb, which I would label that as being discerning, using discernment to check into, why is my attention being drawn to this? Oh, it's because maybe I need to change my moisturizers, or I could do with some kind of better, you know what I mean? It's like maybe I need to drink more water, because that's something that drying out your skin or wrinkles could mean that you're not getting enough water in your daily intake.
This absolutely, and if it just takes with drinking water to start with, that's great. And then takes to drink more water, or warmer water, or colder water, whatever. But the loving and accepting who you are. There's a word that we haven't brought out yet, and it's guilt. And apart from the fact guilt will age you,
yes,
guilt will stop you in your tracks from doing stuff.
Right.
And that comes, loving and accepting who you are is a massive hook or a blocker or a dark hole that can stop you from loving and accepting yourself, who you are.
Guilt is. Yeah.
Guilt. Yeah.
Guilt
Definitely.
I truly agree with you. But here's the thing that I believe about guilt. I actually say sometimes to people, I find that it's a wasted emotion, because guilt is most often a desire to be a time traveler. Because you want to go back in time and do something different, say something different, be something different, choose something different, so that something didn't happen. But you can't.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done. And that's why I'm saying it's a bit of a wasted emotion, simply because it's about, so there's so many different questions that you can ask yourself if you're feeling guilty. It's like, what was my responsibility in it? What can I do? Do I need to, like maybe you upset your grandmother and you feel guilty because of that. So what did you do? Well, I was rude to my grandmother. what can I do? Well, you could call her and say, I'm really sorry. That was a silly example, but
no,
it's
not.
like,
No, it's so true that guilt, you say guilt's a wasted emotion. I totally get that. But I'm also saying if you see it and go, oh, I feel guilty, then it's an acknowledgement. So it's so yes, yeah. So it's a wasted emotion if you sit in your guilt and you allow it to hide under a blanket
that
and
you
not
stew in it.
Yeah, stew. Yeah, that's it. But if you see it and you acknowledge it and you go, oh, and then you go to resolve it, that's not a wasted emotion. But
no, that's using that. That's doing the pivot and using it. Yep. Absolutely. But that wouldn't age you.
No,
when you brought that up about aging, that's why I was kind of saying that about it's the stewing in it. That's the part that ages you.
It's the bubbling kettle with the jug lid off, and it just keeps bubbling and bubbling and bubbling until the water disappears to nothing, and then you've boiled the kettle dry and there's no freaking water and you've broken the kettle, and that's your guilt. That's the guilt we were talking about, is your wasted emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was good clarification. But that's what I mean, is that it's that thing. So here's another little piece around that idea of wanting to be a time traveler and going back and doing something or saying something different.
Fixing it. Yeah.
So there's a number of things people can do to let that propensity go. If you become aware of, oh, there's guilt. And sometimes just by labeling it, seeing it, saying, okay, I get it, that can be enough to let it go. Other times you may need to write it out. This is what you're feeling. Maybe you need to write a letter to the person that you upset or the situation that you were involved in. This is not to send to them, but it's to just express and
get it out of your body.
Exactly. And then the other part too is you could do what I like to call a do-over. So what you do is you get yourself into like a very relaxed meditative space, and you allow yourself to recreate that situation, that scenario in your mind's eye, going the exact way that you would have liked it to. You see, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something that you're visualizing, something that you're imagining, and your visual, imagination, and something that you've actually really experienced. So that's the do-over. And then you can, it's so easy to let it go because it's now, you've got both versions. You're never going to, you can just say, okay, so I got to visit the energy, or I immersed myself in the energy of how I would have liked it to go had I had my druthers, or had I done the right thing, or the thing I wish I did, right?
It's really interesting to do that do-over, because you do just change you reprogram your brain again. And it's not a couple of weeks ago I had a client who I said, can you just write down 5 things you're grateful for, and then do another 5, and then do another 5. And he said, how long is this going to take? And I was like, are you serious? You're like, how long is it going to take? A minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If it's going to take you 10 bloody minutes to write the things you're grateful for over sitting in your funk, would you not do that? So doing that do-over can take 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but 5 minutes to nourish your soul.
Exactly. And
change reprogramming your brain and your steps forward, moving forward, is 5 minutes is really not the end of the world, or 10 minutes or whatever. That's just nourishing your soul for something that's really healthy. And if you're not nourishing your soul and doing this stuff, it's definitely not healthy for you as somebody who's on this planet.
Absolutely. And doing that is making a positive announcement that you actually do love and accept yourself.
That you're worthy and you're worth of it.
You're worthy, you're worth spending a few moments doing either that do-over idea or listing out the things that you're grateful for.
That's important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because that is the truth. You are worthy. So many times, you know how we talked already in this conversation about that inner critical, judgy propensity voice aspect.
That one.
That one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's actually very useful to just watch it. Just take a day. This is a process that I've had people do before, is to keep a notepad beside them, piece of paper, and write down every thought. Don't label them right or wrong, good or bad, just every thought that you have about the day. You know, you might be, oh my God, the internet's slow. Or, oh, why hasn't this person emailed me? Or, oh, I haven't done this yet. And, oh, there's my cat. Let me.
Oh, shiny object. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, man next door playing the music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every thought. Yes.
And so then, once you've done that for a day, then you actually get to start to see, how do you speak to yourself? Because would you say any of those things to another person? And generally speaking, people realize, nope, I would never speak to somebody else like that.
It's really scary. It's a really scary. I remember doing a social media post maybe a year ago. Someone said, something about the way you talk to yourself. And I was like, I talk to myself fine. And then as soon as I said it, I started hearing all the negative things like, no, you don't. You probably beat yourself up. Are you walking your talk? When you say to clients, do this, are you doing it? Or are you just, and then I'm like, go away thoughts. And that's where that big brother mindset comes in. If big brother was in your mind, you would get a heck of a fright with what you actually say, not just do around, but actually in your mind, what you say to yourself.
Absolutely. And so here's my thing when we get into this area with my clients, I'll say, so would you talk to other people that way? And they're horrified. Absolutely not. No way. I'd never say these things to people. And then I say, so are you not a people too? Because that's the whole piece, is we deserve the same respect and compassion that we share to other people. In fact, more so in some ways.
More, because we're the ones who've got to keep functioning.
We got to live with us 24/7.
It is pretty scary when you think about it. And I know people say what you think about, you bring about. Mm-hmm. And I agree. Mm-hmm. But if you write down the positives and negatives about your mind, and you, like you said, you don't label them, just write down your thoughts. Yeah. You're not bringing them about. You're actually just being it as aware. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. So some people may go, oh, I don't want to write that down because it's negative. But if someone sees this, it's not. It's just your thoughts. Right here, right now is your thoughts. But tomorrow, after a great sleep, you're going to think differently. Yep. So making decisions right here, right now, you're going to think differently. You did at the start of the podcast, like we talk about the numbers from 0 to 10. Mm-hmm. At the start, you're going to be a certain number, and at the end, you're going to be a different number, which I'd love to know that you've moved towards the 0 more. If not, we have to talk. It'd be lovely to talk to you privately. But that's exactly it. You're doing the best with what you have right here, right now, and your influences and everything around you with what is the best option.
Yep. No, well said. And so to your point, when somebody says, I don't want to write down the negative, there's another saying that says, what you resist persists.
I
so
agree.
If you have a critical, or a fear-based thought or mindset that's pivoting in your energy, and you go, oh, no. And I've worked with so many people that with this, oh, no, I can't do that because that's just anger, or that's just negative. Or it's like, well, so are you thinking it? Well, yeah, but I don't want to write it down. Well, it's like, yeah, but isn't it better to just discharge it? Let's get it out of your energy bubble. So that's the key piece about the writing things down. If you really need to, and I've had people do this before too, burn it. Burn the piece of paper after you've written them down. But you must write them down. If they're in your head, they're in your vibration.
I say you're pulling weeds out of your head. And when I say weeds, like the plants, weeds,
Yes, weeds.
W-E-E. Yeah, in case you didn't get my accent, And then we can replace them when we can plant flowers. But right now we've got to get all that stuff out. And sometimes you pull a weed out and you go, oh, damn, that was actually a plant. Yep, okay. We can replant. We're planting beautiful, nourishing flowers back in there.
Beautiful blossoms. Nope, that's a huge part of my mindset cultivator work. That's why I call myself a mindset cultivator. I help you pull the weeds out so we can have beautiful flowers in there.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. And, and knowing that those weeds will coil around and try and pull the flowers down anyway.
Yep.
If you go and stand in your garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's that, the key things here is that guilt is what is really, where's that coming from, what's going on, if you can pull it up very quickly. And when I say very quickly, you may sit in a funk guilt space for a day. That's okay.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Just for a week, that's okay. But just when you're ready, just know that that there's more pleasure out there than the pain you're sitting in. So sometimes you've got to experience a high amount of pain to go, okay, I'm ready to take the next level. So, just looking in the mirror, and if you do it with your glasses on or your glasses off just to start with, it's actually just a habit. Once you get yourself into that habit, that routine, then you can start nourishing and you can do other things for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other part too, to your point there, is if you are feeling guilt or anger or irritation or anything that's kind of limiting or keeping you feeling stuck, part of loving and accepting yourself is to just recognize that's where you are. And as soon as we can do that, then we are much more open to what's possible. What can I do that's feeling more kind, more loving, more nurturing? How can I will often say that too. I do this to myself. How can I be kinder to myself in this?
And that how can I be kind to myself can just be putting your hand on your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can just breathe. Can just go.
A few deep breaths.
I'm moving away from my office desk. I'm switching off social media. I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to drink another glass of water today, or I'm going to have 2 mouthfuls of water instead of 1. Anything like that is nourishing.
Go for a walk outside. Absolutely.
To whatever it is, and gratitude. Just gratitude. I'm grateful that I'm sitting here acknowledging whatever it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Wow. Today's been an exciting one. Listeners, loving and accepting who you are has really left me with thinking more of what I say to myself, what I nourish my soul with, walking my talk and more. So Moira, you were 2 when you started.
A nice accent.
Thanks, I've been practicing. You were 2 before, being 0 being there and 10 being the other end and the sludge. Where would you be now after today's conversation?
I'm feeling really, really good. I love this whole loving and accepting and letting go. And so I'm going to put myself at a 0.5.
Yeah, I was a 2.5 and I'm like, I can't say 0, but I know that's just love and accept who you are. So I'm actually going to say a 0.
Yay!
Because I just love and accept who I am, and I'm a 0. And I think, Moira, you're a 0 too.
Yeah, you're probably right. I was just thinking, I always said I was never going to say 0, so I can't say 0.
But I do. Yeah. I just feel warm and loved for who I am right now as a person and whatever role I'm playing in Moira's life, the listeners' lives, and those I've connected with, and even those who are no longer in my life. I feel It's okay.
No, that's beautifully said. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a 0 too.
I know we do say, don't be a 0, don't be a 0. There's no room for improvement, but it feels perfect.
Well, the scale moves though, right? We've always said that too.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, listeners, for today. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, everyone. Get on that Facebook group, please, and have a combo and tell us what's working and what's not.
Absolutely.
And and we hear the dogs.
And the dogs.
And the dogs are loving and accepting who they are.
Yes, they are.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Moira.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, listeners. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.